Hello and welcome back. In the last lesson, we built our homepage and created a Git repository for it. We also discussed the asset pipeline. In this lesson, we'll create a GitHub repository for our app and push our code to it. All right, so let's go ahead and go to GitHub and log into your GitHub account. Now over here, the plus sign, click on it and then say new repository. And give it a repository name. I'm going to call it my recipes. Description. This is the main project for the professional Ruby on Rails developer course. We can leave a private, public, and then create repository. Okay, now as with before, make sure that SSH is checked. All right, then scroll down. It says git remote add origin. Copy this line. Go back to your Cloud9 account. And over here, make sure you're in your workspace app and then paste that line. So this is going to set the remote to that GitHub repository we just created for this app. So every time we push our code to GitHub, it's going to go to that repository. All right, hit return. Now check the repository by going git space remote -v, and you see the origin is set to the my recipes repository. All right, there's another command that we have to follow here. It says git push space -u origin master. Now this one you only have to do the first time. Every time we do a push to GitHub later on, you can just do git space push space origin space master, or just simply git space push. Okay, let's try that. All right, looks like everything worked. So let's check our repository. Just click on this or refresh the page. All right. So there it is. Our repository is all set. We're going to update this README file in a later chapter, but for now, our repository is all set up and ready to go. All right. So next, we're going to talk about partials. Okay, what are partials? Let me navigate to the application HTML ERB file. So in this file, we see that the code is getting cluttered. Okay, we want to clean this up. This is the main layout file for our app, so we want it looking clean. But also, the cleaner the code, the easier it is to debug. Okay, so right here, I can see from here to here, pretty much all this code is for the navigation, right? So I'm going to go ahead and move this to a partial, a navigation partial. How do I do that? So I go to app, and then under views, under layouts, where it says application.html.erb, I'm going to increase the size here a little bit. Okay, click here, then right click, do new file. All right. Now a partial starts with an underscore and then whatever name you give it. So we're going to call it underscore navigation.html.erb. Okay. Now let's pull that up. All right. Now before I do any updates to this, I want to show you that the code isn't going to break by doing this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start the server so we have the page running. All right. Let's go to this page. Okay, so here's something a little annoying. We see that our root route is still set to this and we never changed it. To go to our home page, we have to actually type in /home here. But we want the root route to get to home, right? We want this to go to the home page. So let's make that update real quick before we go into our partials. So to set that route, go to your config and then routes.rb file. So we have this get home to pages controller home action. We're just going to set that to root, and how you do that is you type in root, and then within quotes put in pages, so pages controller, and then home action. Okay, that should work. So let's go ahead and try this again. There you go, it's working. Great. So our root route is now set. Okay, and so let's go back to our partial. So from the application HTML ERB file, we want to basically copy all the navigation code over here and then extract it over to this file and then paste it. Okay, let's fix the indentation here. Okay. All right. Now here, how are we going to call this? How are we going to call our partial? To call our partial, we need some Ruby code, right? So we're going to render the partial. So we open our tag, put an equals because you want to render something. Render layouts, because our partial is in the layouts directory and it's called navigation. So layouts / navigation. That's it. And then close the tag. Now you don't have to, when you call a partial, you don't have to put the underscore. Rails understands that automatically. Okay, that's a Rails convention. So let's see. So our navigation file is there. Application is now calling it. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happened to our home page and see if we broke it. Nope, still working. So that's perfect. All right. So one more thing I want to do is I want to extract the footer code here to a footer partial. So let's do that real quick. So the same thing under layouts, new file, underscore footer.html.erb. And then we'll go to our application file, copy this, and then we will put it right here. Okay, save that and go back to your application. Now we have to call that over here. So we're going to render layouts, this time footer, since we named it footer.html.erb. Now you can name it anything you want, but you just have to call it the same thing here when you're rendering that template. All right, so let's try that out again. Reload. Perfect, our footer is still there. So everything seems to be working. All right, great. So now we've made a couple of updates. And what we want to do at this time is we want to see our Git status. All right. We want to see our Git status. We want to see what the changes we made. And then we want to push our code back up to GitHub. So let's see that. How do we check that? I'm going to just close out the server here. Control C. All right. So to check your Git status, just type in git space status. there you go. So this is saying these were 2 files that it was already tracking that were modified, okay? And here's 2 files, the footer and navigation, that we added, and these are not tracked yet, okay? So we're going to type in git add space dash caps A, then return. Now if we do git status again, we see that those 2 files are now being tracked, and the modified files are right here also. So all 4 files are staged now, okay? Now to commit, type in git commit -m, put a message, and we want to say create partials and update root. Okay, that should work, and hit return. All right, now if you type in git status, all right, you're on branch master. Now here it's saying your branch is ahead of origin master by 1 commit, because now your remote is set to your GitHub repository. Git is actually smart enough and telling you that your local is great, but you are 1 commit ahead of origin master. Basically, you haven't pushed your local commits to your GitHub repository. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. This time we don't have to do git push -u. You can just do git push or git push origin master. Okay, we'll do that. All right, looks like everything worked. Let's check it out over here. So let's reload this. All right, so we see that our app folder got updated a minute ago. Config, because we updated the routes file in here a minute ago. All right, perfect. We're ready to go, and we're almost ready to make our first deploy to production, right? So in between this and the next lesson, there's a short video on signing up for Heroku. So follow that video and sign up, and then in the next lesson, we'll make our app production ready and deploy to Heroku. And see you there.